No, I'll just put things live. Okay, good morning, everybody. Hope you have a very good appetite. Okay. Zok the Gemara. First of all, thanks to Eli for the printouts that he managed to make before he left.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So hopefully, okay. Zok the Mishnah Daf Mem Beis Amud Aleph, new parak. Elu treifos babehema. So we learned a lot in the past weeks about treifos. Treifos is a case where something happened to the animal while the animal was alive, and when we find it, usually after, not usually, but most of the time when we find after it's shechted, it's considered a treifa and it's also to eat. So what are these treifos? So the Gemara starts running through a whole list of different treifos. I can't promise I'll get the English right, so help me out. Nekuvas haveshet. We passed that already. Okay, if the esophagus has a hole, okay, so we all know okay, so we have here the mouth, we have here the kane, the trachea, and we have here the veshet. So if the veshet has a hole in it, it's treifa. Upsukas hagargeres, if the gargeres, which is the trachea, gets cut through, not a hole, cut through, we'll see, we learned already there has to be roiv, it's treif. Nikav krum shel moyach, if the outer layer of the brain gets a hole in it, it's also
Skull?
not the skull, the brain. The brain itself. The brain has a membrane that covers it. Oh.
The dura mater, or because it has a covering, not really the brain. It's a covering.
That's right. It's the covering of the brain. Nikav halev leveis chalaloi. So we all know that the heart has the chambers. Okay. So if the hole in the heart is into the chamber, meaning it goes all the way through, then it's treif. If there's a needle only in the outer meat, it's not considered treif. Okay, the treifa is only if it goes all the way through into the chambers. Nishbera hashidra v'nifsa kachut shelo. If the spine breaks and the cord breaks as well. So we have here a spine. This is just a part of it, and we have the cord that goes in the middle. If the spine breaks on its own, but the cord is whole, it's fine. If the cord breaks as well, that's considered a treifa. Nital hakoved v'lo nishtayel himeno klum. If the liver is vanished, how exactly, I'm not 100% sure, but if the liver was taken away, alcoholic, okay, and there's nothing left of it, so it's treifa. We'll see later in the Gemara what happens if there is something left of it, how much has to be left of it for it still to be kosher. Hareya, the lungs, shenikva or shechasra. If the lungs have either a hole or there's a bit that is missing, it's also treifa. Rabbi Shimon Aimer, no. The lung, we'll learn right in the Gemara, has 7 parts, if I remember correctly.
Lobes.
Okay. So if there's a hole just anywhere, Tanakama says it's treifa. Reb Shimon says only if it goes into the
Bronchi, airway.
Yeah, the bronchi,
Bronchi.
bronchi, okay? Which is the small pipes inside, okay, that take the oxygen, and that's where the blood gets the oxygen and releases the carbide, the chulin. Nikva hakeva. Yeah. He learns this parak via MRIs and stuff like that. Okay. Nikva hakeva. If the stomach, we'll see soon how many stomachs there are. Okay, nikva hakeva. The keva is stomach number 4. an animal, by a cow. So if there's a hole in it, nikva hamora. If there's a hole in the gallbladder, nikvu hadakin. If there's a hole in the intestines, hakeres hapnimis shenikva or shenikra roiv hachitzona. So the keres is stomach number 1. So this is the best picture, I think, that explains it. So we have here the esophagus that comes, okay, from the animal's mouth. Then it goes into the keres. Okay, this is the big area of the keres. Now, some of the keres, if you don't see here, but over here, you have it's loud.
It's early in the morning.
It's a lot of ribs.
You have the ribs that cover most of it. Okay, so the pnimis and the chitzona that it talks about here is what's under the ribs and what's outside the ribs. Okay, then we have here beis hakoisos, which is the second stomach. We have here the hemses, which is right next to the beis hakoisos. We'll see in a minute why it makes a difference. And then we have the keva that we just spoke about that goes out to the intestines. Okay, so we have here 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have here 4 stomachs.
Food goes through all 4.
Yeah, it goes through all 4 and it goes back and comes back. Right, Malagera. Okay. So we said if the nikva hakeva, okay, we said number 4, if it has a hole in it, it's treif. And now we're saying hakeres hapnimis shenikva, if the inside part of the keva of the keres, sorry, which is the first stomach. So if that has a hole, b'mashu, or shenikra roiv hachitzona, that most of the outer stomach, the outer first stomach, tears. We'll see in the Gemara Vayter. The Gemara exactly talks about how it happens and what happens. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, no. Hagedol lo tefach v'haketana berubo. He said it depends on the size. If it's a very small animal, so it's beroiv. But if it's a very big animal, once it gets to tefach, that's already considered treifa. We don't have to get to roiv. Hameses or hemses lueis hakoisos shenikvu lachutz. So as we said, we have stomach number 2 and number 3 are right next to each other. Okay? And they have like a pipe between the two of them and they're touching each other. So if there's a hole even between the two, from one to the other, in the area that's connected and that's covered, that's not considered treifa. But if there's a hole, klape chutz, towards the outer parts, meaning from here or from here, that is considered a treifa. Nafla min hagag, if she falls down from the roof, even if we don't see anything from the outside, if the animal didn't live for 24 hours, it's considered a treifa. If most of its ribs broke, even if it didn't fall, udrusas hazaev, if an animal was attacked by zev as a wolf, attacked by a wolf, so we worry that because it hits it with its nails, it has some kind of a poison. No, the poison. Okay, it's a poison, and we worry that goes through the animal, and that's what makes it treif. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, drusas hazaev b'daka, drusas ari bagasa. So depending on the size of the animal, that has to be the size of the animal that's attacking it. If it's a small animal, it's enough with a wolf. If it's a bigger animal, if it's attacked by a lion. Drusas hanetz boif hadak, drusas hagas boif hagas. The same thing also with birds. If it's a small bird, if it's attacked by a smaller bird, if it's a bigger bird, it has to be attacked by a bigger bird. Ze'aklal kol she'en kamoyha chaya. Yeah, this Rabbi Yehuda is continuing the differences also by birds. Ze'aklal, after we learned all these lists of treifos, kol she'en kamoyha chaya. Any animal that gets hit with something that animal that gets hit by such a thing does not live, it's considered a treifa. Okay. Where do we know that it's asur to eat treifa in the Torah? So the Gemara, minayin. What kind of question? It says mefurish. You don't need a hint. It says mefurish. You're not allowed to eat basar treifa. So what's the kasha? Ela remez letreifa she'ina chaya min haTorah minayin. Where do we know that a treifa cannot live. Why do we think that? The Ketani Sefer, it says at the end of the Mishnah we just learned, Zeh klal, kol she'en kamoyo chaya treifa, michlal de treifa en chaya. Minalan. So where do we know that an animal that's a treifa does not live? Zog the Gemara, dechtiv, v'zoi sachaya asher toichlu. This is the animal that you would eat. Chaya echol, she'en chaya lo teichel. An animal that lives, you should eat, and an animal that doesn't eat, do not eat. Michlal, the treifa lo chaya. So we see that a treifa does not live. Zog the Gemara, l'manda amar treifa chaya minalan. There is a man da'amar that says that a treifa does live. So where does he know that a treifa does live? Where am I? Nafkal can live. Yeah, obviously. Can live. You're right. Nafkal mizoi sachaya shel teichelu. Zoi sachaya chaya acheres lo teichel. This animal that everything's okay by it, that's the one you should eat. But there's another animal that lives, that could live, that you shouldn't eat. And which one is that? It's a treifa. Michlal de treifa chaya.
A treifa that will live is still a treifa, according to this man.
Yes. Yeah. And we'll see later in the Gemara also that the Gemara wants to say that we know that this animal won't live. Okay? Will live, but it's still considered a treifa, according to this man.
What makes it a treifa then?
Any of this list. Yeah. Had nothing to do with if it could live or not. If one of these things happens, and we'll see later in the Gemara the cases of things that we know that an animal could live, but it's still considered a treifa.
You need to list more 12 months, but it's going to have a shortened life because it's a treifa.
Or the nish. The Gemara in the next page talks about cases where the chaya, you could give it medicine and everything's fine. The Gemara doesn't talk about that it lives less.
According to this man, it's not treifa or it's treifa.
It is. It's treifa, but treifa could live.
The machlokes says if it could live or it can't live.
Yeah.
What's the nafkamina? No?
What?
Okay, great. So live.
If we see something that an animal could live, so it's not considered a treifa.
No, it is treifa. Just he could live.
That's enough community between the two mandamrim. In any case,
eat it, can you not eat it like?
No, of course not.
So there's really the nafkamina is just if it could live. The mitzvah,
no,
nafkamina is
yeah,
the
but the mitzvah is also in treifas that it could live. Okay, we'll see back to the Gemara. The Gemara wants to say that a certain case, an animal could live. Is mimela, it's not treifa because it's not in one of these lists.
That's what we're asking.
Okay,
so he's saying it's still a treifa. He's going to tzad. It's still a treifa, even though it's living. So
that's right. The living of an animal does not prove us whether it's treifa or not. That's right.
Why did the Mitzvah say treifa?
Yeah.
Whether it lives or not, it's treifa.
That's the machlokes. The Mishnah at the end says a klal, right? Any animal that can't live because of it, it's treifa. Okay, so Gemara wants to understand. Where do we know? Where do we know that a treifa cannot live? Or maybe live. That's exactly the machlokes.
Even if it's animals that are treifa that could live, and with the same makkah, they don't live. It depends on the animal. I mean,
so that's like it's the Gemara. Exactly the machlokes. Okay. Ve'idach. The first mandam that says that treifa eina chaya. What does he do with Zois? Hi, Zois, my Avid. What do you do with this? Mibailach the Tana of Rabbi Shmuel. The Tana of Rabbi Shmuel, Zois achaya shal teichlu melamed shetofas hakadosh baruch hu mikol min umin veherolay leMoshe v'amalay Zois echol v'Zois lo teichel. Okay, we know there's the famous Gemaras that talk about the things that hakadosh baruch hu showed Moshe. Right? He showed Moshe the menorah, and he showed. That's right. So Tosfos talks about it. That in Menachem, yeah, we bring the Gemara brings three things that Kadosh Baruch Hu showed Moshe: Menorah, Rosh Chodesh, and Shrotzim. Wait, that's right. And then it doesn't bring what it says in the Mishmah that he brings the Mateh Eish of Machzis HaShekel, and it doesn't bring this case also. So so Tosfos explains that he showed him only the things that he couldn't understand. Okay, that he was miskashe. Okay. So that's what the Kadosh Baruch Hu showed him. But the Machzis HaShekel, he understood what a Machzis HaShekel is, but he couldn't understand the concept that someone could bring money.
He didn't understand why he shouldn't be half. He thought he should be Chullin. That was what he understood.
That's not what Tosfos says, but okay. Could be. So Tosfos said that he knew the concept. And also over here, he knew what it is, but Akash Baruch Hu still showed it to him to see what is asur and what is mutar. In those days, no. So, yeah. So that's what he did. That's what Tanya Rabbi Shmuel does with Zeus. Okay, to tell us that Kadosh Baruch Hu showed all these cases to Moshe. Ve'idach nami miboilech the Tanya Rabbi Shmuel. The second mandamar that says that Treifa Chaya. How could he use Zeus to tell us that Treifa Chaya? He needs it. Also needs to learn this learning that Kadosh Baruch Hu showed all these animals to Moshe. So Gemara says, "Enachanami, you're right. Ela Treifa Chaya minali." So that's the case. Where does he know that Treifa could live? So Gemara says, "Nafkalemi idach tanen v'Rabbi Shmuel." He learns it from a different tanen v'Rabbi Shmuel. Oh, chatadi no leinu l'chadam shakol dam b'dori. The tanen v'Rabbi Shmuel. Bein achaya necheles ubein achaya shelo yisochel. It talks over there about. No. It talks. The Torah says, "Lehavdil ben atom ben ator ubein achaya necheles ubein achaya shelo yisochel." Okay, so the difference is between an animal that could be eaten and can't be eaten. Zogt Rabbi Shmuel, Eilu shmonesre treifos shenemru leMoshe miSinai. This is the 18 treifos that were told to Moshe behar Sinai. Bli neder tomorrow. Eli sent it to me last night late. A nice chart of all the list of treifos plus the ones that we're going to see later. B'ezrat Hashem bli neder. I'll try to print it today, and we'll use it for tomorrow's daf b'ezrat Hashem. Okay, so Tan Rabbi Shmuel has a list of treifos, and he says 18. He says a number. So the Gemara says, "V'tu leika." We don't have more than 18. V'leika. We have basgar v'shav shmaitza. We have more. We have basgar, which we'll see back there in the Gemara what each letter says to us. So basgar is 4, and we have shav shmaitza. We have another 7 that the Amoraim learned that are treifos and are not mentioned in the Mishnah. So Bishlam and Latana Didan, next page, Membes Amud Beis, Bishlam and Latana Didan, the Tana Vishir. The Tana the Shir, Asib Zakla, sorry. So our Mishnah does not bring a number. Okay? It brings Ela treifos, it brings a list. Fine. So the ones that he brings. The ones he doesn't bring, he doesn't bring. Ela Latana de Rabbi Shmuel, the Tana, Shmonesra treifos, Vetuleika, Ve'ika. Rabbi Shmuel said in the Brisa, 18. We have a whole list. So let's go through them. And the Mishnah are 18. Okay, depends how you count them, but there are 18. Oh, I did a bracha.
Yeah, kavana for the coffee.
Okay. Ve'aika. We have a whole list more, right? So we said basgar. So the first one is a base. Behema shenechtechu ragleha. Min ha'arkuva ulamala treifa. An animal that its leg was cut from the arkuva ulamala. The arkuva is. So that's a question. The machlokes we'll see back in the Gemara. It's either here or here. Okay, that's a machlokes where it was cut, either over here or over here. If the leg is cut over there, it's treifa. So there's an extra one. The Gemara says no. So like Reb Shimon ben Elazar, the Amal Yechela Hi Lichoves V'Lichyos. So he says like Reb Shimon ben Elazar, he says you could burn it, and then it could live with it. Okay, that's also in today's day and age. If someone has a vein or an artery that's bleeding, they have like a small burning thing that. Fine. So we see that it could live. So the Gemara says, fine. Who are we talking about that's going to hold that, like Reb Shimon ben Elazar, that you could burn it and it could live? You're talking about the Tanat Rabbi Shmuel, right? Tanat Rabbi Shmuel was the one that brought the brisa with the number. Tanat Rabbi Shmuel. He doesn't care that it could live. Fine, it could live. It's still a treifa. What's the difference?
That's why he doesn't count it.
No. So you should count it. We don't care that it could live. It could live, but still considered a treifa. Not only that it could live, he holds that it's kosher. He holds that it's not treifa. The reason is not living or not living. Okay? The question is it kosher or not kosher? What?
What makes it a treifa?
Kind of halacha l'moshe Messina. Yeah.
No, but it's not treifa.
According to Rav Shimon and Elazar, not.
This case is not.
This case.
Where you should put the
Okay, weiter. Vayika. Okay, we said Basgar, right? So we did the base. We're up to the Samech. Vayika chisoren b'shedra. We have a case of missing in the spine. Ditnan. Kama chisoren b'shedra. Okay. So we have, this is not such a good picture, but as they say, is a mayesh. This is a picture of the animal from the top, okay, from on top. So we see here the spine.
Bird's eye view.
What?
A bird's eye view.
Yeah. So we see here the spine and we see here all the ribs. So if some of the vertebrae are missing, okay, they broke off. So how many of them have to be missing in order for it to be treifa?
What do you mean by missing? I mean, when you say broke off, then obviously, as we had before, we assume the
cord is whole.
The cord is whole.
Cord is whole. Just missing.
There's a gap.
What?
There's a gap.
That's right.
without any-
Exactly. Some of the books have a picture of it. Let me see if.
Even a fracture could be considered a gap. Even if there's just a fracture of
I'm talking about a complete vertical.
Is that what it is at saying, or are you stretching?
No, not in here. I don't remember.
Even if it's broken, it's broken, that's not a gap.
Okay. Here it's not. Doesn't matter. Okay. Weiter.
Vertebrae. There could be nothing.
Okay. So if it's missing some of the vertebrae, so how many does it have to be missing? B'shamayim shtei chuliyas v'silayim chuliyah achas. V'amar v'yidam mashmal v'chen l'treifa. Okay. So the machlekes of Rabbi Shammai and Beis Hillel is talking about tuma. Okay. That we have a din that a whole shedra, a whole spine, okay, or most of it, etc., is metame be'ohel. So if it's missing, so it's not a whole shedra. Okay, so how many does it have to be missing in order for it not to be a whole shedra that's metame be'ohel? It's metame like any other bones. How many does it have to be missing? So the machlekes Beis Hillel say 1, Beis Shammai say 2. But for our case, the same thing is for treifas. According to Beis Shammai, it has to be missing 2, and according to Beis Hillel, it has to be missing 1. So we see that is another one.
How is it missing? It was born this way, or something?
No, something happened to it. It got eaten up. I don't know.
Unless they're simply talking about, when they say missing, they're talking about the plane of a fracture. If you have a fracture, then that's missing one. If you have 2 fractures.
No. It's talking about missing.
Where did it go?
The actual missing, yeah.
He had osteoporosis or something.
Oh, where did it go?
Yes, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Was it not? It's
Okay.
already from before.
So why?
Aged.
Yeah, aged beef. Fine. So we see we have another one. So what do? Answers the Gemara. Hem sesu beisakoisos de khashavta lo betate khashvinu bechado. Afik chado va'al chado. So as we said, the second stomach and third stomach, right? We said that if it has a hole in it towards the outside, the treifa. If there's a hole between the two of them, it's not treifa. Okay, so in Lichura at the beginning we counted it as 2 treifas, 1 in stomach number 2 and 1 in stomach number 3. Says the Gemara, no. Stomach number 2 and stomach number 3, that's considered 1 treifa. Okay, is Mimela we took off 1 and we bring in the case of the missing vertebrae.
Shedra, the shin.
The samech. Chisoren. Basgar. Chisoren. Okay, so we're up to the samech. Chisoren. Okay? Okay. So afik chada va'ayil chada. So we take out 1 of the stomachs and we bring in the chisoren shedra. Next. So we're up to the gimel va'ika geluda. Couldn't find the picture of that. We have a case of a skinned animal. Okay? if the animal is skinned and the whole skin was taken off either because it worked too hard or because it had some kind of a disease or something like that, that the skin... What?
And it's alive.
Okay.
Just the skin panel.
Yeah. No, but it's the whole thing. It's like nifshet kula. Okay. So va'ika gluda. So there's another case. So the Gemara says, Savar lo ki Rabbi Meir. Savar lo ki Rabbi Meir that he holds like Rabbi Meir that says that it is kosher.
Even if it happened before the shechter?
Sorry?
If it happened before the shechter?
Yeah.
There's no psul.
There's no psul and gluda is not considered treifa. Vayte va'ika charusa. We're up to the reish. Va'ika charusa. We have a charusa. What's charusa? Rashi explains that the lung went hard like a palm tree's...
A smoker.
A smoker, yeah. That's probably what it is. Okay? No, but it's interesting that Rashi says that sometimes it could happen from a scare, from a fright. That the lung goes hard or something. I don't know. Shalba Metzias. So Rashi explains sometimes it could be Bidei Adam and sometimes it could be Bidei Shamayim. So Rashi says that if it's Bidei Shamayim, it's kosher because it could go back to itself. But if it's Bidei Adam, it's considered a treifa. Okay, so we have an extra case. Sigmar says, Moro man katani la Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda. Who's the one that holds that if there's a hole in the gallbladder, it's considered a treifa? It's Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda is a chida. He's a single tana. We take his chat out. It's not one of the 18. Afik mara ve'ayil chagusa. We take out of the list.
He thought he made it.
Yeah. We take him out of the list. Okay, we take the gallbladder out of the list and we put in charusa.
Then this whole Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda, our Mishnah?
No, not that.
Yeah. Does it say Mara?
It says Mara.
If we want to put this in.
It's the case of Mara is a chida. It's not our Mishnah. The kasha is not an our Mishnah. Let's start with that, right? We said that our Mishnah is not a kasha because we don't say the number 18, right? We don't say the number. So the Mishnah brings all the cases according to everybody, maybe. Yeah. So, but the Mishnah does bring it. Okay. So we brought the Basgar, right? The 4. Va'ika Shav Shmaitza. We have another 7 that the Amoraim learned that are treifas. And what are they? Okay, hold cup. I'm sorry, I didn't bring the table. B'ezrat Hashem tomorrow. The Amar Rav Matna Haybuka de Atma the Shaf Miduchte treifa. If the Buka de Atma, which is the hip, here we go. The thigh bone and the hip bone. Okay, this is all the way at the top. Yeah, it's the other side. This is with the hip bone. Sorry, yeah, this is the hip bone, this is the thigh bone. Okay? If this comes out of its place, this location, it's considered a treifa. What?
Both of these?
No, top. Only the top. Okay? That went out of its place, treifa. So that's case number 1. Case number 2, treifa. If it got hit, had a makkah or something, I'm not sure exactly how they translate what exactly kind of a makkah it is, but some kind of a makkah in the kidney, it is treifa. Huh?
It's full of pus. That's what it says. Yeah. Mugla. Malay mugla, it's like an infection that's full.
Okay. You want a picture? Here, there's a picture of the kidney. Yeah, just see a circle. There's nothing really to see. I mean, in the digital pictures, there's some good pictures of kidneys that explain. We'll see right also in the Gemara that it's like red from the outside and white on the inside, depending where exactly the infection is. We'll see that already in the Gemara. Okay. Vitnan. Okay, so we did number 2. Vitnan nital hatchoil ksheira. If the spleen is missing completely, it's kosher. Only if it was taken away. If there's a hole in it, it's treifa. Number 3. Number 4. V'amar Abba Baba Chana Amar Shmuel. Simonim shenidaldalu berubon treifa. If the kana and the veshet got disconnected from its place in the animal, right? We have. It's not a good one. Have to find the right picture. Okay, so we have here the simonim, right? We have here the kana veshet.
You could pass it by us either way.
And if it's connected to the animal. So if it gets disconnected and it's hanging, most of it, then it's considered treifa. Okay, here you don't see it all the way down, but okay.
We saw on the vesha that he brought in that there was a meat at the top of it, so that's the connecting.
Yeah.
We had this conversation. The top of
It's hanging on the inside.
disconnected from the head.
Yeah, but that's the top. We're talking here the whole way through. The kana and the veshet are connected to the animal the whole way down. Okay? Not over here. Okay? All the way down. This is connected. If it gets disconnected and it's hanging, again, one of the books I think had a picture of it also hanging. Just like how.
But there's some sort of tissue holding it.
That's right.
Holds it in place, normally, so the meat's above.
Yeah.
Here, if this animal's been on a dive and suddenly there's vacuum inside, there's no
Or he got hit by something and it's disconnected.
It's never empty.
Okay, weiter. Okay, so that's the next one. If one of the ribs gets disconnected from the spine, okay, including half of the vertebra. Okay, so let's say, imagination, these are the ribs, okay, they go down. If it breaks over here, it's fine. But if it breaks over here in the middle, okay, and it comes out with half of the, not with this, the mass of the spine, but the cord is still whole, okay? But the rib comes out with half of the spine, it's considered treifa.
Zoom in half and then it's cracked.
Yeah, it broke it. Okay, this
Square joint, square joint.
right here, this is the vertebra or vertebrae, whatever you call it. My wife is South African, so that's where I get the accent from. Okay, so this is
Single vertebra, multiple vertebrae.
okay. So it's round, okay, and it's one piece around the cord, okay. Now, if that splits in half and comes off with one of the ribs, that is considered treifa. Vegulgoiles shenechbesa beruba. Okay, skull that got hit hard on the head. I guess he went to the wrong Hafganah or something, and got hit on the head.
The cop was riding on him.
Yeah. Ubasar hachoipe esreiv hakeres. There are lots of them out there. Okay. Ubasar hachoipe esreiv hakeres, and the meat that covers most of the stomach. Okay, at the bottom. If this meat tears open, if most of it opens, treifa. So we see we have here another list of 7 treifas.
Yesterday, a plane, the top of the plane came off. It's like the
cover,
whole cover.
Yeah, but they managed to land. It's a treifa chaya. It didn't happen yesterday, but yeah.
No, it wasn't yesterday. It was on the news yesterday.
Yeah, no, it happened one time, a month or two ago. Whatever. Yeah. Okay, so the bottom line is we have here extra.
Everybody's the same issue.
We have here an extra 7. Okay? What do we do with them? So the Gemara explains it as follows. And this, Bezrat Hashem, I think we'll do this again tomorrow. Just with once I have the proper list, it'll be easier to understand. What? 7. Shmaita is Shmuas of the Amoraim. Sheva 7. Okay, so the Gemara says as follows: Nekuve, if you look at the list that we have in our Mishnah, okay, all the treifas that are considered a treifa because of holes, okay, Nekuve, Taman Yahavu. There's 8 of them. Okay, B'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow I'll bring in the printed list. We'll see it a little bit more visual. So there's 8 of them. Okay? Chashvinu bechad. We count them all as 1. So instead of 8, we have 1. That means we have 7 extra. Afik shav v'ayil shav. Take out 7 and put back 7. We have 8, right? We said all these. What? In the Mishnah. In the Mishnah we have a list of 8 holes. We really have more than 8. We have 10. If anybody's quick to count and not counted, Mara, because we said according to Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, so we don't count it. And Hemsis and Beis HaKosos, we count it as 1. Okay? So we have, at the end of the day, we have 8. If we count these 8 as 1, okay, so we're minus 7, right? So the 7 extra of the Shav Shmait, so we add into the list. Okay, so the Gemara says, if that's the case, that you count all the holes as 1, if we're counting it according to the kind of treifa, that it happens because of a hole, the cases of cuts or something being split, we have 2 of them. We have Psukas Agargeres, and we have also the Shedra, if the cord, the spine cord gets cut. So make those as 1. So now we don't have 18, we have 17. We have minus 1. The oid, the Rabbi Avira Mishmei de Rav, Nami Nikuvahi, right? We said one of the Shev Shmaitza was what Rabbi Avira said about the spleen. If it has a hole in it, it's treifa. So that one is also part of the nekuvas, so it shouldn't be in the list. So we down to nothing. So the 2 that we said that are not included, okay, from the Basgar, right? Which 2 did we say are not included? We said the first one, the Behema Shnechterchu Raglea, right? We said we're not considered. We're going according to Rabbi Lazar that says it's kosher. So no, bring it back in. And the one that we said that goes according to Rabbi Meir, the Gluda, okay, the one, the skinned one, bring that one back in. So we have 18. Okay, B'ezrat Hashem, I'll go again on the last part of the Gemara and Amud Beis tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem.
You said